Hi, everybody. Kevin Iole from Yahoo Sports here. I am really excited this week because we have an unbelievable heavyweight title fight. Whenever there's a good world title fight, I'm excited. When it's a heavyweight title fight, I'm really excited. Anthony Joshua is fighting Joseph Parker. And here to break it down with me is the former world champion, the former welterweight world champion, a really good guy, even though he's a Cleveland Browns fan, my friend Shawn Porter. How are you, Shawn?
I gotta find my Cleveland hat for you.
Oh, no.
My dad just gave it to me this morning. I should have put it on. What a matchup we got this weekend, huh?
Oh, it's going to be unbelievable.
I I was watching some highlights and some video last night on both these guys, and it dawned on me that we have one of the greatest heavyweight matchups in the heavyweight division in a very, very long time.
I think it's an interesting time in the heavyweight division because we want to see the winner of this fight Deontay Wilder, who I think is really unbelievable. And I think Dillian White on Saturday on HBO, he came out against Lucas Brown, and he looked fairly good. You know, maybe the competition not as high, but so I think there's some interesting times in the heavyweight division right now, don't you?
It seems to be that way. And then even I watched the Dillian White fight as well. It was actually my first time seeing him, and to see his charisma both in and out of the ring,
Right.
Seeing him say everything that he wants to get coming up for himself, and to go out there and just, put on the display the way he did. He looked very deserving of a title shot, deserving of a fight against Anthony Joshua or even Joseph Parker, even Deontay Wilder. So the heavyweight division right now is very, very interesting. It's very, very fun to watch right now. And unlike most of the other divisions right now, the top tier guys they're all could be number one ranked and easily unify the title holders.
Let's get into this, Sean. Joe Parker is 24-0 with 18 knockouts. He holds the WBO title. He's going to fight, of course, Anthony Joshua. I think most people regard Joshua as the man. He is 20-0 with 20 knockouts. He has the IBF and the WBA title. The fight's going to be on Showtime here in the U.S. It's going to be fought in Cardiff, Wales, where there's going to be about 80,000 people. I made a point in my story yesterday talking about the fact that this will be about 250,000 people that Joshua has drawn in his last three fights, which is pretty amazing. Do you think that gives a fighter an advantage? Let's start there. Will Joshua have any advantage by having 80,000 British fans in his corner?
You can't ignore that. It's a fact. When you hear people giving you energy, rooting for you, saying your name, it pushes you forward. It gives you he will enter the ring with a certain momentum that Joseph Parker just won't have on account of him having 80,000 fans there. Essentially, most of them rooting for Anthony Joshua.
We might have 80,000 for Joshua, 80 for Joe, so it won't be.
Yeah, about that. It will probably be about that. So you can't ignore the fact that Anthony Joshua will climb into the ring with a higher level of momentum just based on the crowd itself and him fighting, around the corner from home.
I want to get your take on this. I asked Parker this in an interview I did with him a couple of weeks ago. I said, I thought you were really an ascended heavyweight, looking like you were going to be something special. On your last two fights, I was not that impressed. He agreed with that, and he said he had some problems in his camp and whatnot, but he feels like he's ready this time. What do you make of Joe Parker? How good is this guy, and what, in your opinion, does he have to do to beat Anthony Joshua?
Well, you know what? Joseph Parker's speed, it raises eyebrows. Watching him last night and seeing his consistency with his speed, it really does make me wonder if he has what it takes to get in there for 12 consecutive rounds and beat Anthony Joshua. I think that's what it's going to take for Joseph Parker to emerge as the victor here. It takes him using his speed, his boxing ability from the outside, and it takes him using that consistently for 12 rounds to win this fight. If Joseph Parker wins the fight, I don't think it'll be on a knockout. I think it'll be based on him outboxing Anthony Joshua for consecutive 12 rounds and using his speed to do it.
I want to get your take on my theory with Parker. I think for Parker to have his best, I agree with you. His speed is going to have to be a factor. But I think he's going to have to go side to side, up and down. He's going to have to make Joshua fight when he doesn't necessarily want to fight, and just have to give him a lot of different angles and change. It can't be conventional, and he can't allow Joshua to time that 1-2.
I agree with that as well. I think that one thing that I did see lacking from Joseph Parker was his side to side. There's not much side to side. He'll move in and out and change his direction. But in terms of his head moving side to side, I didn't see much defense from him. And he tends to keep his hands down after he punches as well. So I think, again, he has to use his speed. But even on top of the speed, he's got to be able to move side to side and make Anthony Joshua chase him. If he's able to get Anthony Joshua in somewhat of a desperate mindset, then he'll be able to outbox him a lot more and use those different side to side angles to outbox Anthony Joshua to a victory.
AJ is 20-0 with 20 knockouts. Obviously, he's showing that he has some big time power. My take on Joshua is that he is there to be hit, but if you're going to hit him, you're going to put yourself at risk because he can crack himself. So for Anthony, do you think for him, does he have to make it a firefight? I mean, do you want to get into an exchange war with Joe Parker?
I think he's got to do one or two things. He's either got to pick up on Joseph Parker's speed and catch his rhythm and begin to time him, or he has to try to get him into a firefight, punch with him, punch him between his punches, and try to land those heavy hands. Anthony Joshua he's a really good boxer. He's not the thing I like about Anthony Joshua is he doesn't have to load up on his punches to create that power.
So he can throw a short punch and it'd be effective.
The power for Anthony Joshua is just there. He's not a street fighter that's going to wind up and swing from the outside and land a big punch and knock you out. He doesn't have to look for that one big punch, which it works to his advantage because against a guy like Joseph Parker, if you're punching in between his punches or punching when he punches, then you'll be able to catch him with one of those really heavy hands and daze him, get him confused, make him think, and get him out of there. I think that if Anthony Joshua wins, it will be on a knockout.
I think Parker, to me, sometimes his balance I question. He gets, what I would say is out over his skis, leaning forward. And to me, he seems ripe for an uppercut. Now, maybe that's judging him at his worst. He said he wasn't very good in the Huey Fury fight and the fight before that. But it seems to me like a key punch in this fight could be an uppercut from Joshua. Do you see that?
I don't. I see what you're saying, especially in his last two fights, but I don't see that happening in this fight.
Why not?
Joseph Parker. Well, because I've learned this about Joseph Parker. He likes to use his speed. We know that. He likes to use his boxing ability. He can move a little bit. We know that. And he likes to box from the outside. Joseph Parker, if he has to, he will fight in the inside, but he likes to box from the outside. Saying that, I think he's going to try to use his reach, and if anything, he's going to try to lean back.
Pull back?
Off of the punches of Anthony Joshua. Joseph Parker will try to punch and then lean back, which will put him in line for those heavy straight punches. Right. But I don't think the uppercut will be there as much.
Well, the reason I say that, Shawn, is because I look at him and I say, if he does throw that right hand follow through and he's leaning forward, that then we can see Joshua with the counter coming up. That would seem to be where he's open because he at least he tends to me when he throws that jab, he's bent forward a lot, and that would mean that right hand would be the same way, wouldn't it?
And it makes this fight very interesting because we've seen Joseph Parker in the past fight against shorter guys. When you fight against shorter guys, something like that will tend to happen. You'll tend to maybe overexert yourself or reach in a little bit more, and your chin will go past your knee, which we don't really want to happen as boxers, but sometimes that happens. And when you're in the ring with someone who isn't of your caliber, those mistakes do appear. They happen, and you have those lower end fights so that in a big fight you're ready for something like that. I just don't see that. And then also remember that Anthony Joshua is a little bit taller guy here. So if anything, Joseph Parker is going to be coming in, but I think he'll be in right where he needs to be, opposed to the shorter guy where he has to sometimes reach in. He'll be reaching up instead of reaching down now. So I think that will make a big difference in him being susceptible to things like a uppercut, which you don't see coming.
No, that's why you are the champ and I'm just an observer.
I hope that makes sense.
It does make a lot of sense.
I
So
tell
let's
people,
go. Let's make our picks. I'll go first here. I want to save the best for last, so I'll give my pick, and I am going to go with Anthony Joshua by about eighth or ninth round stoppage. I think Joshua is going to slow Parker down with some of those big shots, and Joshua we know can handle the big shots. He proved that against Vladimir Klitschko. I think the jury's still out on whether Joe Parker can handle that. Even the Andy Ruiz fight that Joe had, Ruiz hit him a couple times and seemed to bother him, and I don't think Ruiz is close to a puncher that Anthony Joshua is. So I'm going to say, let's go just to give it a definitive round. I'll say Anthony Joshua by ninth round TKO. Let's hear what you say.
And then let's also point out that Anthony Joshua is a pretty decent body puncher as well. He'll get in there, he'll throw those body shots, and he'll dig in. He's not going to just, touch the body. He's going to try to hurt a guy. He's going to try to hurt Joseph Parker. I'm going to do the opposite. I always cheer for the underdog. So no matter what happens Saturday night, remember that Shawn Porter always goes for the underdog. I got Joseph Parker winning the decision, 12-round decision.
All right, well, you heard it. Kevin Iole going with Joshua by KO. Shawn Porter going with Parker by decision. It should be a good one on Saturday night on Showtime.
It will.
Thank you, my friend.
You got it.